Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome to part 2 of the BMW rebuild. I don't know if I can call it rebuild because I mean, there's nothing really to rebuild on my end. But if you guys will notice, there's a BMW right there. But that's not the BMW that was parked there a few days ago. Here it is. I already pulled the old one out. Here is the new one, and it is going right in there. Once I put it in there, we are going to start it again, and you guys will hear it for the very first time. Or maybe you guys heard it in the last video, I don't know. And then we're gonna go from there. I will possibly start driving it. I have to drive another car, but after that I will start driving this BMW. Clear all the fault codes that I can find. We will do an oil change on it, because my assumption is the difficulty it had starting means that it hasn't been driven for a very long time, months, maybe half a year, maybe more. And I think the cylinders were maybe more or less kind of caked on with no oil to kind of get the motor to turn over easily. So we will do fresh oil on it. We got a new battery, it will get a detail, and we'll kind of go from there. I mean, it is a little bit rough, you know, we have dings here and there, but hopefully I'll still make money on it. Awesome, new batteries in. I could leave my tools here. Let's get this thing started, and hopefully it still starts. There we go. So as you guys can see, we have a whole bunch of lights: brake, ABS, traction control, airbag, SOS. But she runs. I can hear that she's not running 100%, so you know, like I could hear minor not like a misfire, but definitely like air to fuel mixture is a little bit off, and that could be because it just, you know, new battery and it hasn't been ran in a long time. So I'm actually gonna let it run again for, I don't know, 10-15 minutes. Just let the fluids kind of go through the vehicle. And you guys see the car runs, so it wasn't run and drive. I guess the battery was just dead. So I'm gonna let it run here, and then once I start driving it, I think it will actually go through detail first, because it has a whole bunch of glass and whatnot, and I don't want to sit in there and then, you know, like carry the glass somewhere and then one of my kids touch it or whatnot. So next step will probably go to detail, get cleaned up, and then I will start to daily drive this thing. Hopefully there's no check engine codes. I will hook up my computer to it, clear whatever faults it has, see what comes back, and then kind of go from there. But definitely still a project.
Several days later.
It has been a few days, and I am taking this BMW to my detailer, and we are going for the very first drive. The car has been running for a little bit now, maybe 10-15 minutes, while I was photographing another vehicle to sell. I'm trying to turn on the AC. To be honest guys, I'm a little bit iffed out by this car. As you can see, you know, there's a whole bunch of stuff dangling and whatnot. Like, I haven't messed with anything. I mean, aside from getting it started, putting in a new battery, but I'm happy that it runs. Detailer's going to clean this thing up, and then I can actually start driving it and fix whatever needs fixing. But at the very least, we're not at a dead stop anymore. Vehicle runs, and we're moving along to get this project finished up and sold. I have half a tank of gas, and I literally just left the lot, and the 4x4 fault, ABS fault, and traction control fault turned off, which I kind of assumed, you know, with the dead battery and me trying to jump start it, it could have put the car into a really weird mental state. So I am very glad it's out of that mental state, or at least starting to come out of that mental state. Let me close up this glass. See, the other thing is, I'm really worried to touch anything because there is so much glass around me. I've never been in a car with this much glass, and it's extremely fine glass. So I'm afraid, you know, if I touch something, get it in my finger, it's gonna be a big no-no. But AC seems like it's starting to blow cool, which is always a good sign. And the only lights I have on the dash as of right now is the airbag light, and it shows that I'm not buckled in, which we will look into it. After the detail, we will look at this car in more detail. Ha 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 ha, if you guys caught that. But yeah, let's take it to my detailer and we can resume once it's back at the lot, all cleaned up. Just picked up another BMW from the detailer. I forgot to mention that the BMW I just dropped off runs extremely well mechanically. I didn't notice anything, you know, with the transmission or motor, so I think we are solid. I think it was another great purchase after the headache of it not starting.
The next day.
It is the following day and BMW is done. So they cleaned it up. I just briefly inspected it and there's no glass. So this thing looks a lot better than when I dropped it off. And you know, actually it cleaned up somewhat nice. Could take a better look once we get back to the lot. So that's where I'm headed now. The car is back at the lot. Let's take a look, a closer look. So this stuff, I knew it wasn't gonna come out because it's actually worn, and it's worn pretty badly. Which I guess in theory I could see how much a new seat would cost. I can't imagine that it's gonna be very expensive because these vehicles are super common. That's food for thought. Now we can go back here. Again, everything cleaned up pretty nicely. They even installed that light right there, if you guys remember, it was dangling behind my head. But car still mechanically runs really well. So now what I have to do is basically clean up all of this sticky stuff from the tape that they use to block off the glass, and then get rid of this paint right here, paint on the glass right here. But clearly this car is going to have imperfections. You know, there's that area, the bigger area is right here and then right here. I do not plan on fixing it. I will sell it as is. Tires are like brand new on this thing. It runs really well. I actually don't know if the headlights work or not, but front bumper has damage, and then I believe, yeah, the front fender liner piece is missing, so I'll order that. They're like 20-30 bucks. So next step for me is actually to start driving it, check those codes, the airbag code, and I don't remember what else is on there, but make sure it passes DEQ. I will do an oil change on it because it sat for a long time, so we had a hard time starting it. I already have the oil, I already have the filter, I basically have everything needed to do an oil change on it. But you guys probably won't even hear it. The motor runs flawlessly, and you know, total I've done maybe 5-6 miles on it. It shifts good, it doesn't overheat, engine makes good power. I mean, it runs really well mechanically. It's just cosmetically it doesn't look the best, but price will of course reflect that. And you know, it has a salvage title, so price will also reflect that. But I think someone is going to get a really good vehicle, because the Carfax report shows absolutely amazing service records, especially recent service records. So it's documented work, it sounds good, it runs good. Somebody will be able to live with, you know, some body damage and drive in a really nice BMW. So I'm gonna pause it here because I have a whole bunch of other projects that I'm working on. And we'll see, maybe on video, off video, I'll clean up the paint and everything else. But yeah, next step is drive it when I have time and make sure it passes DEQ, because in the state of Oregon, that's a priority. And as a dealer, I am responsible for that unless I specifically have them sign paperwork releasing my responsibility to the buyer. They are aware of it, they are okay with it, and I can sell a vehicle like that. But this one, we're gonna do everything the right way.
Several days later.
I am starting to rack up miles on the BMW. It is at my house. I literally just finished doing an oil change on it. Pulled the cover off, as you guys can see, new valve cover gaskets. Looks like newer alternator. There's some kind of sensor over there, hecka shiny. So like the Carfax report showed, this vehicle has had a lot of work done to it. I'm gonna put this up top. And I mean, it sounds really, really healthy. It runs really, really well. It shifts good. I did probably 30-40 miles on it already. Basically trying to drive it enough to where 34 miles to where it goes through its full cycle, could pass DQ on it. I ordered a new fender liner for it. I'm taking it back to the lot, and I am picking up another car so I could do maintenance work on that car. But we are making progress on this one, and hopefully it's going to be done very, very, very soon. Well guys, after 48 miles of driving, to my surprise, BMW is ready to go. I checked the codes. There are no codes. All onboard monitoring systems are ready. Means that the computer did what it needed to do and it didn't find any faults. So that's really, really good news. I was going to take it through emissions right now, but there's a huge, huge line, and I'll probably be in line for 40 minutes, if not more. I just don't have that time right now. So we're gonna save this for another day. But BMW, honestly, I mean, I could sell it as is already. I'll just try to take off, you know, tape on the trunk. I'll show you guys real quickly. No, things like this just make it look a little bit better, and it's ready to go. So I think we are getting very close to wrap up this video.
Several days later.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, BMW is done. I cleaned it up as much as I'm going to clean it up. There it is. Actually looks pretty good. Now, clearly body isn't perfect, but it does run very, very, very well. And there are no fault codes, so I mean, it's ready for a new owner. It's listed for sale, and you guys saw the journey. It wasn't as bad as I initially thought it would be. Vehicle's ready. Thank you for watching part 2. If you guys haven't seen the first part, make sure you find it on the channel. I'll link it under this video. As for this video, guys, this is gonna be it. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. Consider subscribing to the channel. Drop a comment in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in another video.